back to Linus. That's who he is. Where do we start, guys? Drop links, drop articles, start at the Gamer Nexus first video. Okay, let's go there first, guys. We are going to put on this video and then I'm going to walk away for 40 minutes. And then once it's done, you guys can give me the wrap up, okay? That's my XQC impression. Okay. Up, chill. So guys, here is Gamers Nexus in their channel. PC, hardware reviews, game benchmarks, component analysis. I don't know what the hell. Okay, I know what PC hardware reviews means. I don't know what game benchmarks means. Is that like when you I don't know, component and I don't know. Fucking dweebs, the channel with 2 million subscribers, 2 million dweebs. And let's see here. The problem with Linus Tech Tips. Is this the first video that we need to watch? It looks like it because this one hit 3.4 million. And then there's a second one that came out too with a terrible response. Think of Linus like the entertainment half of tech YouTube. Gamer Nexus is hardcore reviews, very in depth. Okay, so Gamers Nexus are tryhards. Okay, you got the Chad Linus Tech Tips, and then you have the Virgin Gamers Nexus. Is that an accurate description of these two? Am I wrong? Yes, no? Other way around? So we got the Chad Gamers Nexus and the Virgin Linus Tech Tips. My company's getting acquired by other people, so don't blame me. It's changing, blah, blah, blah. While these guys stayed, okay, we'll swap it around. These guys are the Chads. So we have the problem with Linus Tech Tips. We watched it in today's video. If you have not watched today's video, we did a deep dive. Well, not a deep dive. We did a summary. Today is the deep dive. But we talked about this briefly. Now in Omni After Dark, we are going to go into it in full. So we'll start back from scratch in case you have not seen today's video. If you haven't seen today's video, watch it later. Okay.
A few days ago, this clip from an LTT lab tour got a lot of attention online.
The difference between us and somebody like Gamers Nexus or Hardware Unboxed is we test new components, new tests every time.
And then Hardware Unboxed tweeted dissatisfaction with the statement made in that tour.
Who is Hardware Unboxed? Who are these people?
And then Hardware Unboxed tweeted,
oh no, bit of a big oof moment. LTT Labs taking shots. I've rerun more benchmarks than Linus has spent money on testing equipment.
Dissatisfaction with the...
I didn't want to say it, but yeah, LTT Labs should look to refine their data, not throw it out and end up with more results that often don't make sense. Not to be salty, but we've seen it way more than we should.
Statement made in that tour.
If you have to tell everyone how good your testing is, in my 20 years of experience, that generally means your testing isn't very good. Your work speaks for itself, guys. That's how you build credibility. Followed by, I should note that both Linus and Luke have been good to us and they're great guys. This is just very disappointing from an LTT employee. Okay, I get it. Remember Star-Lord? Gamers Nexus covered that. Another tech reviewer, I see.
We didn't say anything at all, anywhere. Okay. Even though it's not actually true, they don't collect.
Pause. April 5th, 2023 versus March 28th, 2023. What are we looking at? We're looking at, what the fuck am I looking at? Call of Duty Modern Warfare. This looks like a benchmark. Clearly, this is reused data. That's fine, but don't make things up when defining your difference. They're showing two videos. We owe you an explanation. Our reason late review is late. And then the best gaming CPU on the planet, and I'm mad. So let me understand this. There are people who test the hardware, and then there are people who take the test from the other people who test the hardware, and then say, these are the results. Is that what's happening here? Is that what's happening? Or am I, for example, they had one graph that said GeForce is 490 is 300% better than 3090. Okay. That's what's happening. They're using old data, but they say they make new tests every time. Oh, so they're capping. They're lying. Okay. I'm just going to take your word. I still don't understand how you can tell that they're lying, but if they're saying they're lying and everyone's saying that they're lying, I'm just going to believe it.
It's new data and new tests every single time, and it's not always necessary anyway. So when Linus went on the WAN show, we hadn't gotten involved. Linus responded to Hardware Unboxed on the WAN show and then said the following.
There's a fair number of people that are talking about the whole trust me bro situation.
Let's go pause, by the way, again, because I don't know what it is with YouTubers who are like really successful and people who make content, but it's like as soon as they get a podcast, right? That's when they fuck up. Like that's it. Get a podcast. Time for me to Time to fuck up. To be fair, Linus has been doing this for a very long time, but it's almost kind of like when you just give people a platform to talk more, you're giving them more opportunities to slip and bust their ass, I suppose. So I'm just saying, like, as soon as you get a podcast, it's over. Me, I've been podcasting my whole life, so it's kind of like part of my gig, okay? But still.
Where there were some creators that it seems like you guys are...
My man, like, uh-oh. Careful.
Look.
Careful.
Just say it. Everyone knows you're talking about us.
It's pretty clear that not everyone in the creator space handled that super professionally. I don't obviously agree with some of the takes that were out there. I don't think that it's particularly journalistic, for example, to ignore facts.
That line always was hysterical to me when I first heard it. He said, I don't think it's journalistic to ignore facts. Like, and Luke is like, oh, bro, here we go. You're about to mess with the money again, aren't you? You're about to mess with the cash flow. We got a good thing going. You're about to fumble some of the bag. I'm about to have to take a tax write-off, aren't I?
To ignore personal relationships.
It is my job to ignore personal relationships. Yeah, if LMG is going to make false accusations...
What is this? Wait, pause. What are we showing? These screen caps that are...
Personal relationships. Yeah.
So, we have here, 1 year ago. I can't wait to show you this. LTT store backpack. And then this one says HW News, important GN LTT changes, GPU price drops, Intel Arc GPU availability. What am I looking at? What is the screenshot supposed to mean? That was the Trust Me Bro warranty? Okay. What the fuck is the Trust Me Bro warranty? It's a $250 backpack, and the warranty was just Trust Me Bro, like non-ironically. They just said, just trust me, it's gonna be okay. Same thing here, Thunder Curry. All I saw was just these something. Okay. Gamer Nexus pushed back on that, called them out because it was anti-consumer. So, pause. You guys are buying backpacks with warranties? They got those? Wait a minute. I didn't know backpacks came with warranties. I thought you just bought it and then you had like a return day notice and then that was it. Like, all backpacks came with a Trust Me Bro warranty. Okay. Trust Me Bro warranty is about a $70 screwdriver with no warranty when Linus complains whenever a product doesn't have a warranty. I just use, if it's $250 at better. Okay. News to me. I honestly thought when you buy a book bag, you just get the return. And then after that, you know, that's it. That's it. So, okay, news to me. That's what's up. I mean, okay, news to me.
If LMG is going to make false accusations and wants to try and use personal relationships to gain favor so that we don't cover something we think is not okay, it's not going to work with us. We don't play that game.
Shots fired. He said, look. I don't know what he said, but I know he said it with his chest, okay?
Clip from an LTT lab tour caught our attention, but it itself isn't worth commenting on. We have something wider in scope we want to comment on, and it's simply that we believe LTT
Hey, my name is Steve.
is rushing too much
Steven, but, you know,
to
close.
hit.
You what? Nani?
The fuck you doing here, nigga? Identify yourself. Who the fuck are you?
Arbitrary and largely self-imposed deadlines that are causing frequent and sometimes significant data.
Stop it.
Rushing too much to hit arbitrary and largely self-imposed deadlines that are causing.
Okay. Ponage. Now, short-circuited YouTube is just confused with their pinned reply. Our mouse was given as a prize to each of the VIP whales to their recent Linus Expo event, but say not recommended. Talk to your boss, Linus Tech, before you mess up his credibility as well. For a channel this big, you have a responsibility to do basic study and not spread misinformation. Our PTFE mouse skates were tested and have a lower friction coefficient than even the most top gaming mouse brand. It was just rated as one of the smoothest, fastest glide on rating site with real tests. If our mouse drags, then it might be time for a new mouse pad. So can somebody summarize this? What did I just read? the mouse company went hard, but I can't blame them. Okay. Just keep playing it? Okay.
Infrequent and sometimes.
Oh, they're going to go over it later?
data
Okay, got it.
errors
Okay.
And information errors.
Got it. Okay.
And this conflicts with the ramping marketing surrounding accuracy and data-driven objective reviews that they're pushing for from LTT Labs. So we've decided to turn off all YouTube monetization here. We will not be placing a sponsored ad in this video. We were just going to report on serious concerns that we have with LTT and bring some awareness to these critical issues. We've been thinking on this for a few months now. We have a few main points of discussion for today. They span from raw data that potentially misleads consumers, even if unintentional, accidental, that counts too. And we have some ethical concerns and corporate connections that we want to talk about, including great ethical concerns regarding LTT's inaccurate testing and misrepresentation of a small company's prototype, followed by the auctioning off of that prototype, despite the company wanting it back for other media and not granting permission for the auction. Also, we're concerned about ethics issues regarding LMG's recent review of the Ponage mouse, where they failed to notice that there was protective tape over the Teflon feet to knock the friction coefficient of the mouse, followed up by a pseudo correction wherein LMG fails to take full ownership of its mistake and instead blames the product for not.
They left the tape on the mouse. They reviewed it by leaving the tape on. They were like, yeah, this mouse ain't that good, but they left the thing on the sensor. And then they judged and said, this is a bad mouse, and then messed up their business. Damn, that's wild. That's wild. Okay, I'd be pissed off. Okay, if I was a company and then Linus Tech Tips improperly reviewed my video, my mouse, because they didn't know how to take out the daggone, that's wild. That's wild. I demand money. I demand money. I demand it. If I'm the mouse company, I demand Linus Tech. I want $10 million a year for the rest of my life for that mistake. Okay, because one Linus is powerful. One Linus Tech review. This man can say your mouse is doodle. That's it. Or he could say you got the best mouse in the world and you got a bestseller. That's powerful. Yo, that's terrifyingly powerful. Not only does Linus has a lot of power. I would make a full video saying, my bad, we were wrong. This is the best mouse in the world. And we're doing a $10 million donation to the company. That's the only way to rectify such a terrible mistake.
Not hand-holding them through the process of removing said tape. But we'll start with the simpler stuff and then come back to this. So the marketing is strong, but exiting just entertainment and entering technical data-driven reviews and marketing on the back of that means that there needs to be proper work to back all of that up, because people are now putting a different level of faith in the material coming out, and the expectations are different. And we know these issues at LTT in terms of the rushing, the pushing employees and staff to hit deadlines despite concerns with the data or the collection of the data. We know that these come from top down, as shown in a recent LTT interview that it conducted with its own employees, where many of them stated concerns with content quality pertaining to restrictive time constraints.
Let's publish less videos.
What the did he just say? Listen, I'm not as stupid, man. I promise. Like, I'm dumb, but I'm not stupid. And I cannot keep up. I can't keep up with his language, okay? I need a translator. He's saying that LTT is a content forum. Okay. Crunching employees, quantity over quality. Okay, so Linus is just churning it out content just for the sake of the money, not really caring about the integrity, messing people's lives up, destroying people in the wake, doesn't care as long as he just keeps chunking it. Okay, got it. He's a cogsaw. What's that one Zoolander thing? You know, he's really, really good looking and destroying people no matter what happens, even no, is he seriously? So Linus Tech Tips is what's his name? Elgato? Mugato.
I wish we could back off the amount and focus on quality for a bit.
More time for projects would be good.
Just allow us more time to work on a video.
We never have time for retrospection. It's always just, that's out. What's the next thing?
Would be nice if the pace was...
Pause. Was that Linus complaining about his own... Was that a Spider-Man? Was that Linus complaining about his own company? Wait, I thought that was like a joke or a skit. Wait, was that Linus Tech Tip? Like, or that's Linus Tech Fits. That's not Linus Tech Tips. That's Linus Tech Fits. Okay, to interpret it as Linus complaining about the perceived workload to remain relevant on YouTube. For context, this is a video where they do every year or so about at the work at LMG. The thing is, Linus pledges not to watch that video. So this man's just like, look, if I don't see it, it's not happening. There's no way that Linus says he doesn't watch a video that talks about what it's like to work for Linus, right? Like, you guys are capping. You guys are capping. I feel like I'm being trolled, but there's no way that you own a company and then people are saying, what is it like to work for this company? And the person's like, I pretty much do not see. There's no way.
Lessened a little bit, have time to like debrief or look in the rearview mirror at how things went.
I don't love that we have to release so many videos. I don't know what our current count is weekly, but I know it's very high.
What?
Don't love that we have to release so many.
6 Linus Tech Tips, 1 WAN show, 3 Tech Link, 3 Short Circuit, 2 Tech Quickie, 4 YouTube Shorts, 2 Float Plane exclusive, 3 plus LMG clips, 25 videos per week. Damn, I'm messing up. I'm only doing like 2. I get 2 late Omnis, and that's if you're lucky. God damn. Float Plane is LMG YouTube thing they are making. Okay, so explain Float Plane. Omni starts stealing the news, push out at 8 a week. I need a team. I need a team of cheap labor, people who are willing to work for free. That's right. Are you an editor? Do you want exposure and the ability to be seen? Do you want your time and energy to translate to absolutely nothing? Well, do I have a job for you? It's called an internship, unpaid. And you can work for me for free. And maybe, just maybe, after I let you go, someone else might find you for all the hard work you've done. Is what evil Omni would say. Actually, let's go a step further. You're gonna have to pay me money to work for me. Not even free, pay me to work for me.
Many videos. I don't know what our current count is weekly, but I know it's very high. Very rarely am I particularly proud of a video I've worked on.
And Linus's own comments recently reinforced that the company is still weighing carefully the impact of spending another half day of work on something to get it right, rather than just shoving it out the door incomplete or potentially wrong.
But it was designed for a 3090 Ti. Well, we went for gold and we tried it with a 4090. The temperature results were bad. It was clear that it wasn't making perfect contact, and so Adam was the writer on that project. What Adam asked is if we could spend more time, put the 3090 Ti on it, and get real results.
Okay.
And what I told him was no, because, and guys, come on, like for real, okay? It's $800 US. I don't know, guys. I'm not sure if I can apologize for not spending another $100, $200, $300, $500 of various.
Is Linus Tech Tips nickeling diming over $800? I get it. Us normies, $800. I don't know about that life, homie. This man makes $800 breathing. He can go take a shit right now. And when he's done taking a shit, he will have generated $50,000. This man could take a $50,000 shit. They were given a prototype to test and tested it improperly. So they didn't want to spend $800. He didn't want to spend employee to test properly. You know what they say though? When it comes to rich people and millionaires, from what I've seen and sometimes what I've heard though, but a lot of them are really cheap. Usually the people who are the most richest, same people who don't buy nothing, they don't spend money, they think everything's expensive. You know, there's a high correlation with that. But even if he bought that, it's a tax write-off. This man can buy computer hardware and it's an expense. He can buy assets and then he can depreciate it. He can buy assets and then depreciate it over its entire useful life and use it to lower his taxable income. It would be beneficial for him. And then he can give it away. Anyway.
Is people's time.
And that's an important indicator of mindset that comes from ownership of the company. We'll come back to that clip later though. They are rushing, and this rush is causing significant and frequent testing errors, but more importantly, it is clouding
that's
their
a
ethical
job.
judgment.
I agree, Sam.
And what I told him was no.
They are choosing to publish sometimes known bad or known incorrectly acquired data. That's different from a mistake, which all of us do in fact make, yeah.
So he's deliberately going on the internet and spreading misinformation? Is that what he just proved? He just proved that Linus deliberately spreads misinformation. Not accidentally, deliberately.
has. But that's part of this topic too. And so given the knowledge of a lack of qualifications when known unqualified, or the intentional forfeiture of quality and accuracy.
I'm a CPA. I do audits. I look at companies' financials. I make sure they're following policies. So I understand due diligence. If you are specifically and purposely not doing due diligence when creating products that require such, that is called bad business practices and laziness. And therefore, it is intentionally going to do damage. Lots of it. If you are purposely skipping steps to give actual accurate information, especially if it just costs money. I can understand if it costs like a lot of time, but if it's just the money, just expense the damn business credit card.
Accuracy for quantity instead, it calls into question the motivations of the corporation and does in fact make it look to be bottom line centric.
Okay,
this is to hit arbitrary self-imposed deadlines and uploading scheduling whose end result is misleading for consumers, and at some point it is no longer an unintentional mistake to mislead those consumers, such as with known shortcuts that reduce the accuracy of the content. Rather, it becomes intentional to do so because of the knowledge of that approach. We know some people won't like this.
So Steve has just established intent. He said, no, Linus, there's no mistakes here. You are intentionally misleading your audience in order for you to quickly get to the bottom line and create a product that will give you value, even though the value of your product is giving other people information that is incorrect. That's what Steve is establishing. It's not a mistake. It's not an accident. It's intentional. Okay, that's a big claim. It's important to establish that.
Video, and those people will leave comments enraged, citing drama as some sort of catch-all platitude to discourage this desperately needed conversation. It's their way of emoting, I'm uncomfortable. And I agree with you. This is a very uncomfortable video for me to make. I haven't enjoyed the process of it. But this is something we feel is desperately needed, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. And it is not simply drama to talk about errors and factual testing issues in a way that hopefully brings to light the problems so that the media organization, LMG, can attempt to rectify them if it in fact wishes to do so.
You're right, homie. He's basically saying, I understood that sentence. Steve is saying this is not drama that he's bringing up. This is impacting people and viewers who look up to Linus for information that is accurate, and that eventually they might lose money or make mistakes, or products or companies themselves could fail because this man is being way too clumsy with the process. It's too weak, and people are going to get hurt and messed up, but not Linus. He will be fine. It's negligence is essentially what he's saying. And he is also saying that it's purposeful negligence because they understand that they are doing wrong, but going forward with it anyway.
We stand to lose a lot here. We risk pissing off people with direct and very valuable and useful to us connections to YouTube if we ever happen to need them. I don't have a connection.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Linus sold the company. I believe he stepped down to be chief visionary something, but they still own the company. It's not like MatPat. I gotta sneeze, hold up. Bless me. Chief visionary officer, aka I'm going to keep getting paid, but I just don't feel like doing the work no more. Thank you. 10 out of 10 sneeze. I know it felt good too. It felt good. Linus just says, hey, here's my vision. Follow it. And I'm going to go get some sleep. I'm going to take a $50,000 poop.
At YouTube, really, who can help me in any way. Likewise,
he gets
we
more
risk
time.
Pissing off people who are connected to LMG, and that would include large streamers who operate in a class that we can't even begin to approach. But most of all, we risk some of our viewers getting upset, but we are approaching this as objectively as possible, and we ask that you listen to the concerns we are raising and the evidence that we are presenting, because ultimately, if Linus Media Group wants to be consumer first, then it too should want this level of transparency and should want this knowledge of the issues we are presenting today.
True.
The company is now over 120 people. It recently had a purchase or an acquisition offer at $100 million.
Hey,
it's
thanks for the
helmed
subs,
by a new
DC.
CEO whose past includes a career in director positions at companies like Dell and
There's
Corsair.
Taryn.
Its lab is led by a former marketing director for Asus, which was recently the title sponsor for LTX following what we believe to be a rather soft-handed handling of Asus's board and RMA issues by LTT. LMG is a big company now. It has the resources to do better, and it should be treated as such. Okay, with that stance clear, we're jumping into two.
So to me, it sounds like this is Nexus Gaming. What are these guys' name again? Gamers Nexus. Gamers Nexus essentially does audits and reviews on hardware, computer shit, benchmarks. But now they've decided to pivot and do a review and audit of Linus Tech company themselves. So instead of doing a test on the actual hardware, they're doing an actual audit of the company that does that. Like he's coming in and, oh, they do this before? They've done that before? So this is not the first time they do it. Okay. But they're basically auditing Linus Tech Tips and their process as YouTube. It's like if CoffeeZilla exposes out these scam companies and these crypto coins and these finance YouTubers and says what's right and what's wrong about them, this is what he's doing, but with Linus Tech video. Hey, what's up, Miss Square DC? How you doing? Do you remember Artesian Builds? I do remember Artesian Builds. Newegg. Oh, they reviewed Newegg and Artesian Builds and other companies that screwed up. Ooh, okay. Gamer Next reviews are straight informative reviews versus infotainment. So if you just want information without someone trying to sell you on something, if you just want the facts on facts, objectively, you come to this guy. Get it. But if you want all the bells and the whistles and the edits and the, ooh, this looks pretty, what should I buy? Then you go to Linus. Because Linus will be like, this is all fun, hee hee ha ha. But also, I didn't test this 3090 Ti processor. I'm using an old benchmark that's pretty much inaccurate and not updated. Got it.
Two key categories here: bad data and misinformation. This includes unintentional or intentional. There's a bit of a gradient. Bad data is testing which is incorrect or erroneous. Misinformation is miscited specifications, for example, or doubling down on flawed testing and reporting on conclusions as if it reflects proper testing when in fact it has been shown not to.
Sure.
These topics will later expand for far more important ethics discussion and concerns that we have regarding sort of the corporate positioning that LMG is in now. Even with its heavily marketed debut of Labs, LMG is still consistently making errors in nearly every single review that they publish. It is okay to make errors. All of us do this in this line of work, but the concern we have is that these types of errors are in nearly every single LTT technical or review type of video. So there are enough errors that we can't fit them all into a normal length video. We'll cover a few of them as fast as we can to establish.
There's so many errors that you can't fit it into a video that's already 44 minutes. Bro, this man said you guys are so wrong that I literally cannot share all of it with everybody without making it a full feature length movie. God damn. If you guys are just walking in, by the way, we're doing a deep dive on Linus Tech Tips. This is I don't know if he's the owner, but this is Steve. He runs Nexus Gamers Nexus, a YouTube channel that kind of goes objectively over hardware benchmarking, component analysis. And he dropped a video a couple days ago on Linus Tech Tips exposing Linus Tech Tips for their terrible business practices where they're spreading misinformation to their consumers, all for the sake of a bottom line, which is making videos, okay? They don't really care about the integrity part of giving accurate information, and it's not just mistakes at this point. It's quite literally intentionally understanding that the information that they're giving is wrong, but then pushing it out anyway, just so that the product exists, and therefore making it bad faith practices because, well, yeah, it lowers your integrity by a lot, essentially. And it's been happening often.
The premise and the concerns, and everything is from the last year only. We're starting with the missed published errors. The more troubling ones are later in the video. Let's start with the entire 40 series. LTT's 40 series reviews started with the RTX 4090, which debuted with multiple erroneous charts, but one in particular was heavily written into the conclusion of the card. That chart was for Cyberpunk, where LTT allowed to slip past them an outlier with the 4090 outperforming the 3090 Ti by 300%. In reality, that should be closer to 72 to 75%. We explained this previously, but that's because LTT didn't properly set their test parameters and double check that the graphic settings weren't changing due to other dependencies during test setup. This is a massive.
It says LTT's corrections days after posting. Wow. So they literally said that the RTX 4090, they used, I forget which game they said they used, Cyberpunk. They said the RTX 4090 was a 300% increase in performance over the 3090 Ti. Damn, that's a lot. That's a lot to be off by because they didn't set the correct parameters in the beginning. Damn.
Human error, and it is indicative of poor process control. No amount of blaming the video game or blaming how its settings behave is going to get you off the hook for this. It's simply human error. That anyone could then look at this chart and think it makes any sense further indicates poor understanding of the data collected. Most of the rest of their own data was relatively consistent, so there should have been clear indicators that this was wrong. Despite being the only one they originally corrected in their comment.
Correction. We're working on updating the video, but in the meantime, our numbers for Cyberpunk 2077 were with Fidelity FX upscaling enabled. We specifically didn't have this enabled, but stability issues with the bench seems to have messed with the settings. All this just to say, correction, we fucked up and it was our fault and nobody else's. So then they show what the numbers are in the description. Okay. And yes, I saw speeds meet against my own will. I saw a man thrust his in my face on Twitter against my will. I did not have any consent, and yet there it was.
This wasn't LTT's only error, and that's a separate concern, because it comes across as burying just how many errors there truly were by only acknowledging the obvious one or not being aware of them. Both are bad. Shadow of the Tomb Raider from that same review was even more bizarre, with the 3090 Ti outperforming the 3090 by 61%. It should be closer to 13% maximally. Damn. Once again, there's a lack of basic attention to detail, maybe even knowledge, to identify such massive errors. Moving to automation.
Said lack of basic detail, maybe even knowledge. This man just said you guys are stupid. You're not qualified to do this work. You're phonies. You're phonies. Even lack of knowledge. He's going in on him. How's my eye? My eye's good. It's great. It's good. It's good.
It makes this even more dangerous because now you need the skill to identify flaws through numbers alone without even looking at the screen.
Okay.
The trouble was just how long it took LTT to acknowledge this mistake. This should have triggered deletion of the video basically immediately when they confirmed it was erroneous.
But
probably a community post on YouTube, a Twitter post, and a timeline for a fixed video with corrections. But LTT waited days to fix it, and they eventually posted a comment, but they didn't even pin it until people in the community started getting mad about that. That comment that was posted also didn't disclose all the errors, just the lowest hanging fruit of them, which is Cyberpunk. And eventually they replaced the entire video in place. They didn't delete it. There's a YouTube feature that we don't have, most YouTube creators don't have, where they can swap it in place. So they did that, but only after over 1 million people saw it.
You can do that? I don't have that access. Wait, you telling me that Linus Tech Tips has the ability to go back in time and redo his videos without taking his videos down? This man has time control. Oh my God, dude. Oh, can you imagine watching a video and be like, Omni, in your video today, you said something. I can make a video, right? Let's call all of you a bad name, right? And then for you guys, I cannot believe Omni said that. I cannot believe Omni said that. I'm about to share it with somebody else. And you share that video with somebody else and it's gone. But no, Omni called me a big doo-doo head. It's true. It's not in this video, dog. And there's no history or record of it changing. Damn, I would abuse that power all the time. I'd be gaslighting my audience all day.
And we don't believe there was enough active outreach to get in front of this bad data and alert those million-plus people that their purchasing decisions may need to be reevaluated if that data influenced those decisions. Probably there should have been a recall of the content. If you're curious how we handle these issues, the point here isn't really to talk about that.
Sorry, pause again, but I don't think I like the idea of people who give information like this having the power to change the information later. Because that means all you need to do is spit out bad facts and then correct them later. Like you can put out the video, be wrong, and then just have another team that goes and corrects prior videos. And then people are making decisions based off terrible information. I guess this is what he is saying. He's saying this is just not ethical. You're not being responsible. You're not being accurate. The problem with Linus Tech Tips, accuracy, ethics, and responsibility. Got it.
We have a published set of guidelines that we follow. It is our process and our standard now that's on gamers.nexus. It's been there a little while.
Okay.
The 4060 review had enough evidence of being rushed, but one of the other pieces was this chart, where an A750 is shown to be better than an RTX 4060 Ti with ray tracing on, which no other public data seems to support, including our own. They probably remade their 4090 mistake here with applying different settings, or perhaps some type of upscaling. They didn't even catch this one. This is another one of the ones that I caught.
So they said that the 3060, an outdated one, was more powerful than the new
Some
one.
type of upscaling. They didn't even.
They said that the RTX 3060 is more powerful than the RTX 4060. What? ARC is Intel graphics. It's not outdated. The card just doesn't perform that well usually. Okay, got it. An A750 don't go that high. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I'm glad that I have some nerds in the chat. I love you. I'm just playing.
Catch this one. This is another one of the ones that I caught. In their 4060 review, we noticed
I need you to
that
translate for me,
GTX
guys, 'cause I don't
1060
understand.
gains. This is clearly
I'm an
error
accountant.
in one of the two results. That no one noticed this is beyond us. In the 4060 Ti review, they think that memory sharing between the GPU and system memory isn't a thing without rebar, which is just straight misinformation. More recently, in June, LTT published its RTX 4060 review with an incorrect lane count in the spec sheet. In May before this, LTT previously made the same exact mistake with its RTX 4060 Ti review. This video on YouTube, they replaced it in place again using the special feature that most people don't have, but if you look at their Billy channel, you can see what the original was, which was the wrong data. In the month since, they didn't roll forward that correction. LTT had already corrected this once before, which indicates to us that they are once again lacking the proper processes to ensure learned lessons carry forward. So it is missing basic research, which once again starts to become reckless, irresponsible, and concerning for a company branding itself in this position.
Yes.
Moving to bad testing and coolers. In May, Linus Tech Tips published a cooler benchmark video. It had a number of errors that take an entire video to explain, but among them, this particular chart gives away one of the major problems because it illustrates inconsistency between LMG's own testing. In this chart, LMG has the NHD15 from Noctua in red and green.
Okay.
The top two bars. And then it has the Peerless Assassin in blue and an orange.
Okay.
Notice that for each result, the D15 is consistently a few degrees better than the Peerless Assassin in LMG's testing. This isn't the problem. The problem is that LTT's own data is inconsistent when you look at the 7700X. Suddenly, we go from a couple of degrees advantage for the D15 over the Peerless Assassin to 10 degrees advantage for the Peerless Assassin.
So he fucked up again. TLDR. I lost him there for like 30 seconds. He fucked up again. That's the okay. He fucked up again. Okay, I got it.
There is absolutely no way with these CPUs that these results can deviate this much without error in the testing process. That this chart can get past someone and not trigger a removal of that data entry or a significant attempt to try and explain what happened indicates to us that LMG presently lacks the qualifications to conduct proper cooler reviews. There is no reason for a sudden surprise 10-degree delta to favor the cooler that was losing in every other test.
Okay.
LTT refers to the frequency reduction of 300 megahertz in one test as, quote, not enough to affect real-world performance, when actually...
It sounds like they need a proofreader. They need to hire this Steve guy to proofread all their content, all their videos before it's actually done. And they need the person to final review and be like, actually know what they're talking about. It's like they're missing proper controls in place to keep data accurate and information and testing proper. It just sounds like people aren't qualified to do their jobs and they need to do more proofreading. They need proofread and quality control guy for their numbers. But it takes time and energy to have quality control. Therefore, they skip out on it. I see. And everybody's on crunch. So even if you have that guy, because they're doing so much output, they can't review everything. That sounds like accounting, to be honest. Accounting has... I can tell you some stories about accounting, about crunching, and about people not reviewing things because they've run out of time. I can... whew, I can share some stories, but I might put a target on my forehead, a bullseye, if you know what I mean. But
that's basically reducing a 13900K to a lesser CPU like a 137. Calculating the total external area of the cooler does not count the surface area of the fins, which is the area that actually matters because it's where it carries the heat. LTT says that Noctua's D15 can take, quote, anything you throw at it and that it, quote, just doesn't lose. Then they say they use it on all of their internal test benches for reviews. Then they show it thermal.
I'm just pausing because I need a break. Like he hasn't even finished his train of thought for like a minute and 30 seconds. He just hasn't finished his train of thought. There's nothing for me to interrupt because he's just, you know, those cartoons where the person goes, and then I'm just like, okay. I'm terrified of people who are this smart because they could just lie to me. I just be like, fine, whatever you say is true. And they could just be lying to me. Maybe that's how people felt about Linus. Maybe they thought that Linus and his team were just so smart. They could just lie. They could just, and it'd be like, yeah, I believe you because you're so smart, Linus, that whatever you say is true. Linus, if you say it's true because I'm a normie. I'm struggling to do formulas on a TI-83, you know, tan and sin. I don't remember what those are. This is giving me a headache. So if you tell me it's true, then I believe you. I'd be like, just tell me which one is the best and which one is the worst.
Throttling and Cinebench testing, seemingly without realizing it, or at least without mentioning it, that it can get this close
Sine,
to TJ Maxx
tangent, and
at
coast
all should immediately eliminate it from use in test benches, where you want to see how the base product performs without external variables. We're a bit baffled by how huge the endorsement was for the Noctua NHD15, given their own data, but Noctua has close ties with LTT, so that may subconsciously be influencing the interpretation.
The TLDR is that they're wrong. And then when they're wrong, the people who are actually making these coolers, these products, are basically, it's slander, right? Like, or what do you call it when you have somebody as big as Linus spread misinformation about your product? Is that illegal? Like, does that, because that has a huge financial impact. Is it defamation? Like, it's really bad, right? To have such a huge influence say something really wrong about your stuff, even if it's on accident. But this seems like it's not even on accident. They know it and they're still saying it. Is this something where a lawsuit could occur? Or do they just get paid out like, sorry, and let's settle it? I can imagine influence these companies. I watched the Linus Tech Tips things and it said that your mouse was garbage doodle butter. Here's a 0 on Amazon. Good luck, my friend. Good Lord.
Final point here, the Peerless Assassin was tested backwards and LTT blamed the lack of instructions, but we also suspect a mounting issue given their 10-degree delta. Good lab methodology would have redundancies for redundancies to safeguard against human error or perceived
that 10-degree delta.
In April, LTT reviewed the Amazon Basics cooler. LTT shows data wherein the Vetri V5 is producing numbers which seem physically impossible as compared to other coolers on the chart. As you follow along, note that they sorted the charts worst to best. One thing we noticed was the max temperature value shows a 13-degree delta against the average in their Cyberpunk chart. This indicates that either LTT is averaging data which is not yet at steady state, or it may have a bad mount or test processes. This data should have triggered additional retests, especially as there is plenty of publicly available data supporting the Vetri V5 as minimally equivalent to the physically much smaller Amazon Basics cooler. Moving on from coolers, last month LTT published a labs video where they got the model of the power supply they were reviewing wrong. LTT mixed up the Thermaltake Smart 80 Plus and the Thermaltake Smart BM2, which are drastically different power supplies with different quality levels. They also mixed up the 80 Plus 115 volt and 230 volt markers on the graphs, which have different requirements for the efficiency percentage at a given load. This is something they caught after publishing, so that much is good. Pinning a correction is the right move, and they haven't always immediately done that, like we saw with the 4090 review. So that's an improvement, but they need to at least get these basic attention to detail items right. This isn't even the hard part. Besides, if you can't get this much right, then as Linus himself says,
and doing them halfway is basically meaningless.
While we're on the topic of basic...
Oh my God! Oh my God! He just hit him with his M&M. He hit him with the M&M. He hit him with the kill shot. Oh. He hit him with the Luffy Gear 5. I know he felt good. The editor felt good. Whoever edited this video felt good putting that in. Hit him with the freaking rubber protection reflection. Whoever the editor was like, oh, I cannot wait to put this in there in the video for people to see this part. I'm gonna watch it one more time. Hold up, because that was a dunk. This is what you call a nerd dunk, by the way, guys. It said, let's run it back. Let's run that back. Let's watch this dunk back.
This isn't even the hard part. Besides, if you can't get this
Yo,
much
Joe,
out,
you
then,
can-
as Linus himself says,
My guy.
And doing them halfway is basically meaningless.
while we're on the topic of basic errors, let's do one last one. We randomly clicked on a short circuit video to check for accuracy. There was literally no effort in finding this one, and we landed on a 5600X 3D review. The video host states, quote,
the lab put it through its paces,
indicating this is a piece that the lab specifically contributed to, which is marketed on accuracy. Within the review, LMG initially states correct 5600X 3D specs,
but it has 99 megabytes of cache.
but incorrect 5600X cache specs.
The non-3DV cache version has 36.
Then it displays incorrect 5600X 3D specs on the screen later, and it lists the 5600X 3D as having 4 megabytes of L2 cache, except the 56X 3D only has 512K of L2 per core, totaling 3 megabytes, not 4 megabytes. They also listed it as having 99 megabytes of L3, except it has 99 megabytes total of L2 plus L3 cache at 96 plus 3. They then state that
It's basically when you submit your homework to the teacher, right? In school. But the grade doesn't matter. As long as you submit it, you pass, right? That's YouTube. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. As long as you just submit your homework, you will pass. You skip the whole part where the teacher reviews your notes. You skip it. Was it right or wrong? Who knows? Who cares? But I turned it in, and that's all that matters. Damn. So these guys are the teachers. They're saying, look, we reviewed your work and you fail. You suck. You're making your entire product, the integrity of everything, all your videos, lies. You've been getting away for it for far too long. So this makes more sense now. The whole video that happened with the CEO later and everybody coming on board, they're like, all right, guys, you got us. We've been turning in incomplete homework assignments and then redoing it when you weren't paying attention so that when you go back and look at it later, it's correct. That means there's probably a lot of mistakes. These were just videos and mistakes that they caught. There's probably a whole bunch of mistakes that they didn't catch, like that already got corrected. Good Lord. This is really good that Steve made this video. It's really good for Linus too, but they've just been getting away with just being wrong. You can't argue that everything that Linus Tech Tips did was wrong, but you can argue that everything they did had mistakes almost. Like it wasn't accurate. And when you're in the business of this, mistakes can cost companies their entire company, right? These mistakes are mistakes that are not just like, whoops, my bad, there was a typo, or whoops, my bad, I mispronounced somebody's word. These are whoops, my bad, I just ended somebody's company. Whoops, my bad, I just got thousands and thousands of people to buy another product because I said that your product sucked, right? And the common person, the human being, like, yeah, I want the best of the best of the best of the best is, yeah. These are bad mistakes. You can't make these mistakes. These are mistakes that can't be made, that are constantly being made.
1 megabyte lower cache than the 5800X 3D.
You only lose 1 megabyte of cache.
Despite showing a graphic that has the 5800X 3D as lower cache than the 5600X 3D. It's just a total mess. And it's
We'll get to the harassment allegations because they are bad. I think what would make them even worse if it's a second person comes out, but there was a person who came out with some allegations. They sound bad. They sound familiar of a crunch type mentality, bro type mentality. It doesn't sound too far-fetched. Whether there are receipts and or somebody else comes out, is not looking too good. Yeah, I've seen the allegations. We talked about them on today's video on the YouTubes.
It's complete chaos. In March, LTT published its 7950X 3D review. LTT blamed a, quote, bad CPU and noted poor performance for the delays on the review. This entire video confused us because it seemed like they were hyper worried about getting the right answer as compared to AMD, but they should be more focused on producing their own numbers. That is, they trust their own numbers.
AMD had every opportunity to contest our findings, but when we showed them our results, they basically went, yeah, seems okay.
That's because it is okay. If you're trying to nail the exact differences down to a single % of a first-party claim, then you aren't providing any value as a third-party reviewer. AMD might as well publish its own review. It's not weird at all to have a few percentage points different, or even upwards of 30%. They make the thing. They're gonna test it in ways that benefit them. Then they said this.
So with nothing else to go on, if we had launched that review, we would have been the only outlet with a broadly negative take on this chip.
Which is also just weird because they shouldn't be worried about what everyone else is saying in a popularity theory contest, they should be worried about reporting the truth of their own findings and then trying to explain them if they're different. LTT noted in its email to AMD, which they show briefly on the screen, that part of their stability, quote, problem was enabling Expo without increasing VDIM, except it is normal that higher clocks and memory won't be stable without higher VDIM, VDD, and VDDQ. That's not anything unexpected, nor is it AMD's fault, nor is it new.
Okay.
AMD made a GSA menu for OC and BIOS worked at this time and is what should have been used to avoid these pitfalls, as it would auto-apply.
Okay, there's a lot being said here, but it sounds like they're doing a review Ryzen and AMD, and AMD said they didn't find anything wrong with the slight percentage changes and their graphics and performance. It looks pretty on point, not really a problem. But then it looks like Linus is trying to be like, yeah, we were the first ones to kind of give AMD a bad review, therefore we're on point or we're close. That's what it's basically. Linus, there's just more issues with how Linus is doing his reviews, the CP review errors. So their numbers were worse. And third-party reviewers should be fact-checking and showing their results. Correct. Basically, Linus screwed up in the testing and then blamed AMD. Damn, Linus. And then I heard something that we didn't cover in today's video. Linus responded, not in an apology video, but emotionally in a forum. He was like, fuck all of you. I'm rich, bitch. That's what I would do. If you guys wanted to call me out and it was too late, what are you going to do? Take all my money back? I'm rich. I made it. I got away with it. I stole all the money. I succeeded. I won. I'm playing new game plus. You were too late. You can't go back in time like I did to change your mistakes. Because I can go back in time. You cannot. GG's, no see you later, except not, because I'm going to be in the penthouse on the top of Beverly Hills. You ain't gonna never see me. I'm gonna see you. You ain't gonna never see me.
The next brief section is for asterisked errors, which are added during productions. That's after filming and before publishing.
Just want to say this man has some gorgeous locks. Gorgeous. He's like me, but opposite me. White with the full beard and the gorgeous locks. Damn, what a stud.
You can't do text on the screen anymore in YouTube after you upload, so all of this is done before the upload, which means that when doing an asterisk correction,
Tech Jesus?
the creator is aware of that correction. However, these have to be used carefully because most people won't read
Tech
them.
Jesus is
They
his new
might
name.
just listen to the video or kind of tune it out. So these shouldn't be used
Tech Jesus.
for undoing criticism that was unfair. This past week, Linus Tech Tips showed an all Alienware setup with some asterisked errors. In one instance, LTT states that the keys have, quote, stickers.
Curiously cheap printing on some of the keycaps.
Actually, it's double shot PBT.
Yeah, they're double shot except where they put stickers on them.
Oh my god.
These stickers are printed.
Yikes.
And expresses disappointment. But the editors add a note that says, not stickers, immediately dismissing, apparently, the disappointment. In another asterisk correction, LTT states,
and a 4070 Ti, meaning we should be able to get some pretty good gaming performance out of this thing.
But the editors add an asterisk that says, not Ti. For hard criticisms that are stated by the host or the reviewer, like the keycaps example,
yikes,
serves no value or purpose to come to a wrong.
That's crazy. How do you not cut out the yikes? How you not going to cut out the negative? Wow, I can't believe it. You painted this whole thing blue. And then that's terrible and ugly. And asterisk actually is yellow and it's gorgeous. And I made like...
and then put an asterisk to correct it later. You either cut it or you correct it in video.
Yeah, like that callback?
Going back to those interviews, we think they're doing these corrections because they're moving so fast that they won't budget the time to go back and properly correct something, like with the new voiceover line.
I wish we could back off the amount and focus on quality.
When it's clearly entertainment, that's fine. But if you're going to start scrutinizing something, it needs to be treated with care.
Yes.
Entertainer or not. Last week, LMG's Tech Quickie channel covered large language model hardware. And within the 4-minute, 45-second video, they had an on-screen text correction from 312 teraflops to 624 teraflops. A big difference. Then they had a related correction later.
YouTube Omni is real, okay? Twitch Omni is real. YouTube Omni is, I just woke up, I just poured my coffee. What is this crazy shit on my timeline? That's YouTube Omni. Twitch Omni has gotten food, the coffee has gone down and he needs a second cup. Maybe he's taking a nap, maybe he's taking a poop. Now he's in gremlin mode. This is gremlin mode, okay? You got sleepy Omni in the morning and then you get gremlin Omni after dark in the evening. To be fair, I'm a gremlin in both modes. I'm just a full-fledged gremlin. It's just morning gremlin and evening gremlin, but both gremlins. Just made the mistake of seeing why speed is trending. I didn't even check to see why speed was trending. I literally just hit my homepage and I was like, I wonder what's going to pop up. And then bam, speed's meat. Everyone's talking about his meat. Oh man, what happens to you? What happens to him now? I mean, I'm guessing he's going to get a temporary ban on YouTube, but like, that's it. I honestly think guys can like leak their meats. They can show their meat and they'll be fine. And if anything, it'll make us more popular, right? Like, it'll be like, damn, I saw Omni's nuts and balls and got 10 out of 10. And it just boosts my career. Like, it's yeah. Is he a minor? No. Speed is an adult now. I'm pretty sure Speed is a full-fledged adult. Pretty sure. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he's an adult now.
This is an extremely short video. To retake 2 sentences just for audio would have taken a few minutes to send the host down to the studio. This reinforces our thesis statement that LTT is rushing its content and is pressured to maintain such high throughput that it can't slow down even for a single sentence to be reread properly, or that it is unwilling to pay for content to be accurate as long as it fulfills a good enough bar. And don't be fooled by LMG. They internally set the standard to upload at the frequency they do. It is therefore a willful decision to forego quality in order to hit the standards that they're setting. 5 more minutes is 5 minutes too many to get it completely right, and that'd cost money. It'd be one thing if they didn't realize this until after publishing, but realizing 2 mistakes within under 5 minutes of video prior to publishing should indicate a proper correction. In April, LMG published a short circuit.
You know what the crazy part about this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? Doesn't this just mean that going forward, Linus Tech Tips and their videos are probably going to be one of the best videos to watch? Because like now, it's like they've got, you know, everyone's breathing down, looking for an error. So they can't make an error now, which means they're going to have due diligence out of the ass. Like, if anything, this is going to... Not only will they fix the mistakes, going forward, they have a huge microscope. They are not allowed to mess up. They just can't. If they mess up again and get got again, it's all Joe over. So now it's like watching these videos are probably going to be super accurate. That's the point of the video. So these guys are doing Linus Tech Tips a favor. This is actually the best thing that could happen to Linus Tech Tips. You know what? But wrong. They're making Linus Tech Tips more accountable, but they will probably lose money because if they're not outputting 25 garbage videos a week, that means they're only able to make maybe 10 high quality, no error videos a week. So they're going to have to sacrifice money for integrity and accuracy. So this does hurt their pockets. It makes their brand lose lots of money when they're not capable of hitting the output. Now, Linus was already low standard reviews. Gamer Nexus has been the golden standard for a while. Well, it looks like Linus Tech Tips is about to be the golden standard too, because if they mess up one more time, I'm going to beat somebody's ass. That's not a threat. It's a promise.
Circuit video that was paid for by Asus featuring the Asus 4070 Dual. The problem isn't the part where they refer to a $600 GPU as a quote budget card and then thank Asus for gracing us with presence of a $1 backplate.
It's got an aluminum backplate, which is really nice to see on a budget card like this.
Or the clearly biased language where they give a manufacturer a blanket statement for
cap. Linus made errors. You're cap, say cap. There was errors in the Linus apology video. I called cap. If you guys are here and you're just in the video, we're halfway done the first video that goes over Linus Tech Tips. His entire YouTube channel has been based around lies, errors, mistakes. And these mistakes have cost people their livelihoods. The domino effect of these mistakes cascading down onto all of the people just for the bottom line, money. So he can take a $50,000 shit as the chief visionary officer, which apparently is a demotion. But if you're smart, you realize that stepping down from CEO to CVO while still maintaining 100% of the company is the best promotion of all time. It's quite literally just becoming a board of your own company. My vision is that you make me more money. Now get out there and make 25 videos. Good luck. If you don't do it, you're fired. Crunch. Crunch, baby, crunch. Crunch, baby, crunch. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's just crazy.
For always being good.
It's an Asus card, so it's going to perform great.
But rather the problem is the simple correction for a misstatement on the amount of HDMI and display ports available.
3 DisplayPort, 2 HDMI on the dual.
They could have just cut around this. We're not sure why they left it. And all of these post-shoot, pre-publishing corrections bring us to the next set of concerns, which is an increasing amount of irresponsible actions and conflicts that we've seen emerging from Linus Tech Tips.
Okay.
So we've been seeing an alarming amount of conflicts from Linus Tech Tips as it relates to their corporate connections, their flow of money, and the potential bias as a result of those things. And we've been looking into this, maybe more of a future video thing, but some of the concerns include how Linus is personally invested $200,000 into Laptop Maker Framework, and yet is also covering their product and their competitor's product. LMG also has a cross-branded, again, screwdriver with Noctua, and that's being sold on their store while they're also reviewing Noctua products favorably, even when it's shown to be hitting, by their own data, 100 degrees Celsius, which becomes problematic.
You can't do that. I'm an accountant. There's no separation of church and states. Okay, you don't have separation. Why am I forgetting the stupid word? Controls? It's been so long. But yeah, you don't have proper controls in place. You can't have the person who has the money be the same person who spends the money. Be the same person who approves of where the money goes. All of that needs to be separated. I can't make money off a product and then review the exact same product. Like, hey guys, I reviewed my product from which I'm making from, and it's a perfect separation of duties and checks and balance, both. Separation of duties, checks and balances are actually the same but different. Checks and balances being more accounting focused based on internal control processes, and separation of duties, I guess it's both the same thing, but you can apply them in different ways. Anyway, yes, you can't review your own product and just be like, oh, this is great. Now go buy my product. Like, you can't do that. It's called conflict of interest. We have investigated ourselves and found nothing wrong. Exactly. The whole OTK thing. We investigated Miskiff and OTK. We discovered nothing wrong. Goodbye. And then Miskiff walks away in his detective suit and leaves. Blizzard did the same thing, dog. It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. We need actual detectives. We need actual objective detectives. Phoenix Wright. We need people who are actually looking for the truth. Objectively. Who is the world's greatest detective? Where is Herlock Sholmes? CoffeeZilla. Yes, you're right. You're right. CoffeeZilla might be the biggest YouTube detective in the freaking world. Detective Pikachu is not real. I'm sorry. Not until he is voiced by Danny DeVito, I will not accept Detective Pikachu. Detective Conan, one of the longest running animes of all time. Legal Eagle's good, but he's not a detective. He's just a lawyer. Mudahar's a bit of a detective. He's an internet detective. Mudahar is who you hire when you can't afford CoffeeZilla. You can't afford CoffeeZilla's rates. You go to Mudahar. Mudahar's like, yeah, buddy. Yeah, buckaroo. I'll take care of that for you. I gotcha. No problem. You went over to that CoffeeZilla guy. Ladies and gentlemen, I take care of it for you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, now here's the results of what I've just discovered about this audit that I did. And ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you might be one of the most brain-shockingly dumbest things I've ever heard out of my life. Okay? And let me tell you just exactly, ladies and gentlemen, how... Hey, y'all, don't send this to Mudahar. That's my guy. That's my boy. Cable Car, thanks for the tier 1. Yes, I am friends with Muda. That's my boy. But also, friends make fun of each other. So, that's my boy. Stop. Stop it. Don't start no fake beef between me and Muda. Muda will cook me, okay? He cooked me. I don't want the drama. Here's my apology video right now. Here it is, okay? I'm doing it right now. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said those things about some ordinary gamers. I'm going to take 6 months off to better myself. That's right. I'm going on a journey and I'm going to think about what I did wrong in Japan, Southeast Asia, Australia, all the places I've been meaning to travel to. I'm going to go there to think about my life choices as I eat the finest cuisines in the world. Anyway. That's my apology. And also here's Indy. Would you actually, guys, you do realize by canceling me, you put Indy at stake, okay? Do we have any Indy lovers? Indy lovers, he's sleeping right now. But if any of you actually love Indy, you realize if you lose me, if you cancel me, who's going to feed the boy? Now take away from me, you take away from Indy. So even if you don't love me, even if you guys are like, team, fuck Omni, fuck him. He's an ex-smasher. Fucking loser. Remember who's truly at risk here.
The company is unqualified to produce that information. It's really one or the other.
So Tech Jesus is saying either A, workload is too much and you need to slow it down, or B, you're just unqualified. You're either too stupid to make controls in place for you to proofread your work, or you're just too stupid to review the information in the first place. Either way, being too stupid in either of these areas, and these are the only two options, by the way, means that you're just too stupid and you need to rethink your entire life. They said you should rethink your entire life now. Okay, that's what that means. My sweatpants? Oh, you guys like my pajamas? You guys like my pajamas? My avatar pajamas? Would you like me to start violently thrusting my pelvis into the camera? Why are y'all saying yes? What's wrong with you? That was a hypothetical question. Freaking hornies. Just hornies. That's all you guys are. Just sexually frustrated hornies. Are you guys here? What's wrong with you guys? Where's my bonkers? Where's the bonk cameras? Y'all trying to get me canceled. I Show Speed and Omni on the same day expose their BPCs on camera. Y'all about to get me kicked off Twitch. I'm about to get signed up on Kick. Is that what y'all really, do y'all want to kick Omni? I'm about to become a reject. Get on fucking Kicked. Move to LA. I'm gonna be out there hanging out with Aiden Ross, XQC, Bruce, Your Rage. That's right.
I thought it was a 3090 Ti.
So we just casually had a 4090 sitting on the shelf, clearly labeled,
stating that it should work, despite it not being explicitly compatible. The company did not tell LMG that it would be 4090 compatible. They told LMG that they could try to use a 4090, but Billet Labs itself had not tested one as it didn't have a 4090 at the time. Water blocks have very specific tolerances and clearances for components, so any misalignment would cause poor contact to the GPU core. LMG decided to try it and continued with the video despite misrepresenting the product massively by using it on an incompatible device that it literally would not fit properly. LTT's presentation goes down the path of being irresponsible, presenting the product as much more difficult to work with than it.
What the fuck? So he was literally, that's insane. There's no, the review of Billet, there is no way he did that. He used the wrong components midway through the video, realized he was using the wrong components, and said, well, let's keep it moving. The entire premise of this video needed to be scrapped, but he said, no, we've been in too deep. We're in too deep. This will be a video. Instead of saying, we messed up, so let's start from the beginning, he said, nah, bro, it's time. Let's continue. The story continues. Keep the camera rolling. Wow, dude.
Would be if used properly. The conclusion is,
like, it's a cool product, but it's a bad product.
It looks great.
It's bad because it makes absolutely no sense and nobody should buy it. Most of the community is actually...
You can't say that, Linus. You can't do that, Linus. Linus, you cannot say that. You can't say that. I know it sounds like nothing to us, right? But you cannot say that. As Linus, his words, if you guys are kind of in the middle of here, we've been going over Linus Tech Tip, the YouTube channel. They make all these oopsie whoopsies consistently every day, all day, every day, all day. Just wrong. Just wrong. And then they know they're wrong and they push it out anyway. So some are mistakes and some are intentional mistakes just so that they can make videos. This part is crazy, the review of Billet Labs, because he just got finished talking about how he was making a video. And in the video, midway, he realized that he did a fucking oopsie whoopsie when it came to the graphics card compared to the cooler. And he decided to keep going with it anyway. And then in this podcast right here, Linus Tech Tips, this podcast or whatever he's talking about it, he just quite literally said that you should not buy a product because it's garbage doo-doo butter. And if Linus Tech Tips says that you should not buy this product because it's garbage doo-doo butter, that's it. It's a wrap. You're canceled. You're done. Pack it up. You're working at McDonald's. Whatever it is that you were doing, you no longer can do it. You got blacklisted by Linus Tech Tips. He said you suck and therefore you will suck forever. That's how much I said this in the video today. Did you guys watch The Devil Wears Prada? One of the greatest movies of all time with Amanda Priestley, Meryl Streep. This man is Amanda Priestley. And if he says your product sucks, you're done. If he says your product is great, you won. It's just that simple. And so for him to just casually just dunk on a company that he inaccurately reviewed, that is fucked. And apparently it's just the beginning.
Really amazing. But there's a vocal minority that looks at something like that and goes, lazy, out of touch, whatever else. No, I'm just really experienced at this.
Oh, got it.
Crap.
Did you put it in backward?
Get a shot of that. Look at that.
It founds this conclusion on the basis of improper installation. This serves no one. It needlessly harms a small company, and this kind of behavior can kill someone's life work in a heartbeat.
Yes.
And it'd be based on invalid testing and presentation. One of the company founders posted below the video and stated this, quote, "We love LTT, but it was difficult to watch their criticisms when pretty much every design issue that Linus raised was done for a reason which was all explained to Adam weeks ago, none of which, I guess, was fed back to Linus. We also sent a full instruction manual that seemingly wasn't used. I think there's definitely been a major communication breakdown along the video pipeline. We assumed we'd have a chance to answer any problems that were raised and explain them before it being publicly misrepresented."
Bro, I don't know who this dude is, but I wouldn't have said this shit. I would have went on Twitter and gave him I would hit him with the meanest twit longer. Twit longer would have been titled, "Linus is a big, poopy, stupid boo-boo head. And here's why." And I would have been pissed the fuck off. And I would have been like, how dare you review my product inaccurately and then tell me that my product is wrong when it's your procedures that was garbage doo-doo butter. You piece of shit. Wow. And it gets worse? You're telling me it gets worse? It keeps getting worse? Is Linus the guy from Peanuts? He is the guy from Peanuts.
LMG faced some controversy from its community, at which point it replied on the following WAN show, doubling down despite a complete lack of accurate or even useful testing.
Much worse?
Nothing would have changed. Nothing that obeys the laws of physics would have changed the conclusion.
That statement is already a reckless and problematic.
He's God. He's playing God. Linus Tech Tips is the ego. When you're at the top, I don't even need to test a product to tell you that the product is a failure. Oh boy. Got the God complex. Where's the humility, dog? Where's the checks and balances, dogs? Where's the sympathy and the empathy for the little guys, dog? Podcast, I'm telling you, these podcasts, it just lets people air themselves out. Be like, hey, by the way, let me talk about how successful I am. Nah, I'm not that crazy successful. Anyway, this product is garbage, doo-doo butter, and never buy it. And I don't know amount of testing is going to change that theory because it sucks ass. Goodbye. I'm like, damn, did you forget that this person who's making this product, that's something where you was making a YouTube video. You was doing a YouTube channel. Imagine if PewDiePie looked at your channel and said, this is the worst review channel of all time and stop your future of ever existing inaccurately. Because that's what he's doing. I sound like Kendrick Lamar when I get angry. Nobody play with me. Yeah.
Problematic doubling down, considering the elimination of any possibility to change the conclusion, including a 20-degree reduction, which should change the conclusion.
If the GPU had been 5 degrees cooler, that would have been the conclusion. If it had been 10 degrees cooler, that would have been the conclusion. If it had been 20 degrees cooler, that would have been the conclusion.
And we're not alone in saying they should have just done it properly. At least then you have grounds to stand on for criticism.
I also get not wanting to retest, but I do think probably just testing it with the thing that they knew it worked with in the first place probably would have made sense. Because like you're saying, the test result itself doesn't matter, but if it's like,
so who is this guy? Because this sounds like this is the true hero. This guy sounds like he is the actual reason why this guy is successful. That's Luke, the COO. All right, got it. The face, the real reason. All right. Usually the second in command is the reason why things are moving the way that they moving. Luke is the reason of the company. I could see it already. I sensed it. He basically has to keep Linus in check, not to cancel himself. Luke is running Linus. Linus runs the company. Luke, his job is to run Linus.
if it's just supposed to look cool, then it should be seated properly so it looks cool.
After about 5 minutes of rambling, the conclusion effectively was, lol, it still sucks though. Linus then, after publicly humiliating and trashing the work of two guys just getting their start in business while relying on zero effort to examine the thing correctly, complains about how he'd have to spend $100 to $500 more on an employee's time to test it properly.
But I'm not, I don't know, guys. I'm not sure if I can apologize for not spending another $100, $200, $300, $500 of various people's time sitting and engineering a workaround to a product that no matter the result, nobody should buy.
Damn. You got to ask yourself, is this Linus? Is this really Linus? Or is this post-success Linus? You know, did he lose himself? Or is this how he's always been? Is this Linus or is this minus? I just want to let you guys know, if I ever become big, if I ever become multi-million-dollar Omni, okay, I'm just going to say it right now. All right. If I ever become Linus Omni, if I ever get Linus money and you see me being an ass, just know I've always been an ass, okay? I'm calling it right now, okay? This is who I am. If you see it in the future, it's the same thing. Nothing's going to change, okay? I ain't going to become less of an ass. It's not going to be amplified. If I say something stupid, it's because I've always said stupid shit, okay? I've warned you guys. I've given you many, many times. I told you how racist I am. Then when I become a multi-billionaire, and I'm still being racist, don't be surprised, all right? I'm giving you a warning right now that if I succeed, I left clues, okay? I'm not hiding it. I'm not like, hey guys, I'm a nice guy. Everything I do is real. I'll never hurt anything. Wrong. I'm holding Indy hostage right now. You better make me succeed. I am not allowed to fail. If I fail, Indy fails. This is a hostage situation. All right? You guys think I'm playing? Omni, you're such a joker. This bit, you're so funny. I love you. You're so down to earth. I mean, you would never. No. No. Okay, truthfully, guys, there's no way in harm or a way that Indy would never, ever be without being taken care of. That is my son, and I love him to fucking death, okay? Jokes aside, you guys know that. And also, jokes aside, yeah, if I ever did get to like Linus's area, it's arrogance, dog. It's arrogance. I feel like people who haven't been broke or hurt or homeless or trapped, like there's something missing out of some people's brain cells, and they get this arrogance and this entitlement and this God complex, and they forget, or they just never knew what it felt like to struggle. Y'all ever just meet somebody that just didn't know what it meant to struggle? And it's okay. If you were born in a way where you didn't have to struggle, that's not a bad thing. There's no problem with you not actually being born into struggle, okay? I'm not wishing trauma onto anybody. But when you don't have a struggle, it's very hard to empathize with people who do, because you don't know what it feels like. And it can change you and make you think or say things that are completely out of fucking pocket and out of touch. Because unfortunately, the majority of people, especially in America, have to struggle. So there's always this huge fucking divide. When I see somebody like Linus talking with such arrogance, knowing that his words control the future of hardworking people's time and energy. Ironically, Linus grew up on a farm, poor. No, he had crop. He was playing Stardew Valley. Some other people manage to rise up in life and still become detached from reality. I mean, there's plenty of people who struggle too and they become rich. Have y'all been seeing this whole shit with Fusi? That whole shit with food. That's another thing. Let's get through this video.
Now, we don't have any connection to Billet Labs, and that comment was offensive even to us, so we can't imagine how heartbroken they must have been. Linus, in order to protect his company's bottom line, was willing to potentially inflict immeasurable harm to a startup rather than spend, by his own admission, a couple $100 in someone else's time out of the $100 million company's coffers. Making matters worse, in conversations with Billet Labs, Gamers Nexus learned that the company asked for the prototype back on June 28th. This would allow them to send it out to other media or use it for further development. Linus Media Group agreed at least twice to return the product. The first time they agreed to send it back was June 30th. At LTX, Linus Media Group put the one-of-a-kind water block up for auction at its Extra Life auction event, without the permission of Billet Labs. Billet did not learn of this until around August 11th, at which point it was told the block is gone. Again, this is despite LMG agreeing in late June to send it back, as LMG would have no further use for the block. Billet told us that—
You're kidding. You're capping. You're capping. You're capping. There's no way. He ended their careers and then took the prototype that was in the video and then he trampled over their dead bodies and sold the casket. Competitors? It does not get worse. Stop saying it gets. It can't get worse. There's no way. You don't understand. He didn't sell it. He auctioned it for charity. It's different. Oh, you mean a tax write-off? Wait a minute. He auctioned it? He got a tax write-off? Stop. How much? Stop it. That's crazy. Recycle. This is how you end your enemies. You destroy them. You keep their product. You sell their product to the competitors. And then you take the proceeds as a tax charitable deduction. God. Y'all know that dude from, what's his name? House of Cards? Kevin Spacey? I don't know if y'all saw House of Cards though, but that nigga was evil. This beats House of Cards Kevin Spacey evil. Maybe even IRL Kevin Spacey. Okay, maybe not IRL Kevin Spacey evil. But House of Cards Kevin Spacey, knock knock, that's crazy. And like it said that they got in December. It said it was in December. Recap. He said, please send it back. And it was in December. And then he sold it in August.
First time they agreed to send it back was June 30th at someone else's time out of the $100 million company's coffers. Making matters worse, in conversations with Billet Labs, Gamers Nexus learned that the company asked for the prototype back on June 28th.
June 28th is when they asked back for it, but they had already got something back in December or something like that, I heard. So June 28th.
This would allow them to send it out to other media or use it for further development. Linus Media Group agreed at least twice to return the product. The first time they agreed to send it back was June 30th. At LTX, Linus Media Group put the one-of-a-kind water block up for auction at its Extra Life auction event without the permission of Billet Labs.
When was LTX? What's the date of LTX? But they already agreed to return it and then they didn't? August? June? July? August? About a month ago. That's what's going on. And Billet Labs already confirmed that the prototype was bought by a private individual, not a competitor. But it could have been. It was up in the air.
Billet did not learn of this until around August 11th, at which point it was told the block is gone. Again, this is despite LMG agreeing in late June to send it back, as LMG would have no further use for the block. Billet told us that it is now stalled, as it no longer has its best prototype available for continued development. It's also missing one of its GPUs. We voiced to Billet a concern of a potential competitor, many of whom were at LTX where it was auctioned, potentially getting a hold of the block to send it off to be cloned. Whether or not this happened is irrelevant. The point is that there's a responsibility that was ignored. The question that you have to ask as a reviewer is, am I being fair when making this type of commentary? And that's regardless of whether you are just an entertainer or you have your entertainer hat on for that video, but not the next one. And this is particularly important for anyone marketing the future of their business's success on the back of objectivity, fairness, data-driven reviews. Another example of this just popped up recently.
So Billet Labs got fucked. There's no other adjective. They got review bombed by the biggest reviewer in the world. Their product was not returned, and their product was the only type that it had. It was their prototype. Even if they got it back, they got review bombed. No, they can't sue. They can't sue. You can't sue Linus Tech Tips. You gotta understand, suing somebody with a lot of money means that in this system, the way that it works is if you have a lot of money, you can drown somebody else in litigation and delays and fees, and they can make you go bankrupt before you even get a chance to make an argument, before you can even set foot into a trial. You can get tied up in so much paperwork and delays and litigation, and lawyer fees will just rack up that you will just run out of money. And that's how rich people win. They can't. You can't. You're better off making a twit longer. To be honest, you're better off making a YouTube video than trying to sue Linus Tech Tips. Hey guys, my name is such and such from Billet Labs, and Linus Tech Tips ruined my life. And here's why. You know, play that little intro to everybody. Anyway, so this is how he ruined my life. That would be more effective than trying to sue them. Because at least you can hurt their credibility online and it could potentially go viral. You can hurt their clout. And when things go viral, that has an impact. You got to respond. Then you got to respond. Then you can't ignore it. They might try to get us taken down, but then you can't ignore it.
As we were finishing this video, in the short circuit video where Linus Media Group reviewed a mouse,
You're late to the
their
party, but
not a
don't worry.
review,
We're still
the company
drinking.
made strong criticisms of the friction of the mouse in the video.
Speaking of drinking, all of you guys right now, take a pee-pee break, okay? And also, I'm going to go get some water. So take a pee-pee break, go pee-pee. And if you haven't had water, I'm going to get water. I'm going to get a big gallon of water, and we'll drink water together. And then later, once we've drunk enough water, we'll take another pee-pee break together, okay? A group that pee-pees together stays together. Oh. All right, guys. Hello, my little kittens. Did you guys all visit your litter box? We're on the same pee cycle. It's so parasocial. Shaking my protein shake. I'm sorry, guys. Am I getting a little bit too parasocial for you? Did all my little kittens go to their litter box? I'm sorry. I have something. There's something missing. Okay. I hope you guys do know that, like, I'm not all the way there. I think I could legally say the R word. If I got diagnosed, I think I'm on the spectrum. You know, everything's a spectrum. I'm definitely on the R word spectrum. Something's wrong with me. You know, we're all kind of on the spectrum. Isn't everybody a little black? Like, isn't race a spectrum? Everything's a spectrum, right? I'm playing. No little kittens. No little kittens. No, I'm not giving anybody the pass. I will not too mad myself. Anyway.
This is not a smooth mouse, and that's really disappointing, especially on a premium gaming mouse. That should be one of the primary focuses.
Pwnage then contacted LMG to notify them that LMG had not removed the protective film from the feet of the mouse. Linus noted in the WAN show that the short circuit team then posted a pinned comment saying that, in fact, there weren't any stickers on the mouse at the time of testing, and that they stood by their commentary of the product.
The bigger issue here is that our initial correction, which was posted, said, hey, no, it, is high friction, and we did test it, and there were no films on the feet.
Pwnage then tweeted publicly with an abrasive statement, but one for which we can't fault them. They point out the irony of being chosen as a gift for LTX's Whale Land attendees, despite the conclusion of the video being this.
The only question that remains is, am I recommending you buy this product? No.
This, we don't think, is about buying faith, despite the conclusion.
Wait, they won an award. They won an opportunity for their mouse to be reviewed. Is that what it is? They won, like, you win. We'll review your product. And then they reviewed the product incorrectly and was like, it's bad. Whale Ian people spend $10,000 a ticket when Whale Land people. Okay, explain that to me again. Hold up.
Pwnage then
So, Pwnage, noun, is just confused with their pen reply. Our mouse was given as a prize to each of the VIP whales to their recent Linus Expo event, but so they gave that specific mouse out to whales, people who are spending $10,000 to be at their event, and now they're saying they basically gave them a shitty product. If you're a VIP member of Linus Tech Tips, if you're a whale, they gave the whale a shitty product that they don't even recommend? Damn. If you're a VIP, they just give you all the junk. You can buy a VIP ticket to their LAN event. These people got these mice as a part of their VIP treatment. What? First of all, these guys run LAN events where you can pay $10,000? I told you he's taking a $50,000 shit as we speak. You know how I just took a break? We just took a PP break. Linus Tech Tips is taking a $50,000 PP break. Literally. God damn.
This, we don't think, is about buying favor, but rather the dichotomy between being chosen and then having such an egregious error unfairly undermine the integrity of the product and its chief marketing point. LMG then eventually began the process of replacing the video in place. Once again, we assume this time with YouTube's trim tool. That'll take a day.
I saw it too, Shadow. I saw something on the feed. One more time.
Pwnage then tweeted publicly with
I saw it too. Are those the stickers? Is that it? Tell me those aren't the stickers. They said after plenty of review, we realized, no, come on, don't tell me that's the stickers. Say cap, please say cap. Because there's no way that they would go back and be like, nah, we reviewed it, it's terribly raw. Those are the stickers? They are out here ruining lives. Imagine you spend like 5 years of your life trying to make a product for Linus to see, and he leaves the sticker on, dog. Ain't no way. Don't spread no misinfo here, okay? No Linus tech tippers in here. Don't be out here spreading misinformation on purpose.
We assume this time with YouTube's trim tool, that'll take a day or two to process. They're cutting the section about friction, but this doesn't fix the problem. They are choosing to leave the content live whose conclusions were at least partially based on massively erroneous work because they don't want to hurt their video performance. People continued to see the original until it processed.
That's exactly how it is. If they keep the video up, if you remove a video, when it gets uploaded, it destroys it. And if you re-upload it, it destroys it. You don't get a 10 out of a 10. But if you keep it up and then you just edit it later, it never has to go through the process of becoming a re-uploaded video. Damn, it's just greed. It's greed. Greed island. Unethical island.
That can take a day or two, but they're willing to throw Ponage under the bus one last time by providing...
Or some feedback to Ponage. They need to make it much more clear to their end users that the film is present, as it does not have any pull tabs and is transparent, providing very little indication that there is a... So they fucked up and they said, oh shit, we just ruined y'all career. But you know, even though we messed up, you should probably make it a little bit more clear how to do what we should have done. Like you should probably, man.
Feedback that the stickers should be more obvious. For an end user, maybe. But an end user doesn't get paid to test a product, whether or not it's branded as a review. All of this is ethically unacceptable. They like to brand their short circuit stuff as unboxings, or in other words, not reviews. But it's disingenuous to hide behind that whenever there's a mistake. This magnitude of error is what the mouse, or in the case of the water block, the block is marketed on.
If you open up a box and then you say, I don't like this mouse, and your Linus Tech Tips, that's a review. Okay? If your opinion has the weight to destroy my product, it's a fucking review, not an unboxing, you piece of... That's insane.
Which is either Glide or thermals. And to screw the strongest marketing point through such an egregious error as not taking the tape off of the product and still leaving the video up, even while processing a cut, is callous to the impact that those choices have on these companies. Linus Media Group is massive. That has to be treated responsibly. There are correct actions. It should result in some sort of immediate trigger, like a removal of the video with a follow-up saying, we did it again, here's the new results. What's even more disturbing, though, is the community response every time someone has a criticism that's valid. Like when the community beat down Hardware Unboxed for voicing their concerns of LTT's testing accuracies issues, which, while not completely tactful, yes, were valid. Then you look at the recent comments, though, like this, quote, if a professional mouse reviewer couldn't figure it out, what makes you think the average consumer will find the plastic wrapper cover? Quote, Short Circuit isn't a review channel. It's an unboxing and first impressions channel with some labs testing. The conclusion was just David's opinion. He had more issues with the mouse than just the feet. Quote, and if your product can be unboxed by a tech reviewer who does this for a living, and that reviewer doesn't even realize there's packaging that needs to be removed before use, that's bad user experience design of the product that should be called out as a negative. Yes, but calling it out would require noticing it as a prerequisite, which a media outlet taking its time would do. Just because Ponage didn't phrase it in exactly the nicest way doesn't mean their point is invalid. Same went for Hardware Unboxed with their concern. Ponage was defending themselves. They apparently, according to Linus, tried it the nice way first before they wrote that abrasive tweet. And it's after getting humiliated publicly a second time through the pinned response, the first one, that basically said, no, our testing was right, and then people noticed that you see the film reflecting in the B-roll, or at least we did. They then sent that tweet out, and that it had no tact is irrelevant. So we're not going to try and pretty it up. It is unfair. It's unfair to consumers who get misled to bad purchases or not.
I really like Tech Jesus. I like it. I like the energy of Tech Jesus. Tech Jesus is just like, look, it is what it is, and you fucking suck. Do better, man. You're hurting people. You fucking idiots. Either you're too stupid to figure out how to make a flowchart where people aren't getting rushed, or you're too stupid to review things in the first place. Either way, get smarter. You shitheads.
Understanding the product. It's unfair to companies when there are major points that are erroneous and aren't properly addressed or handled. And it's unfair to other reviewers who actually are willing to invest the time and, yes, even $100 or $500 or whatever it takes in some cases to get it done right. And it's sad to see because it undermines all of us. They are prioritizing publishing on a fixed schedule, which they have self-imposed. This isn't, the YouTube algorithm isn't some magic thing that actually needs daily upload. Does it help? Yeah,
yes.
Sure. But there's a lot of things you could do in business that would help that are maybe not the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I'll be real here. It's getting difficult for those of us who try to do things right. And we're not the only review outlet here. We're not alone in this. To wade into a product conversation, especially after LTT, where we have to tiptoe around errors they make and write scripts around it to kind of try and subtly correct it, considering the most devout part of the community's propensity to lash out like you're seeing against these two companies.
Yeah, that's scary because if these guys call out Linus Tech Tips and this video falls flat, blackballed, blacklisted. We don't fuck with Gamers Nexus, and neither should you. Like, it's that easy. You make a video against the wrong person, then you make enemies out of all of that person's allies. It's politics out here, man. It's tough out on these streets. So it takes a bit of courage to make a stand.
He's defending themselves. And we don't care anymore. I'm just going to say it like it is. Being new to testing, it doesn't absolve the need for taking responsibility of the content just because you're new to this certain branch of business. And they have to continue to respect the position that the company is in, especially when building the business's future on the back of Labs data. As a leader, you're responsible for what you say, and whether or not you are branded as the CEO, you still have to feel that responsibility for saying the things that are said. Linus Media Group has grown into a massive corporation. It's hired a seasoned CEO to replace Linus. It controls over 120 employees. They affect the purchasing decisions of millions of people, and they brand themselves as an unbiased, for the people outlet. And this is an admirable goal, but the reality right now is that Linus Tech Tips and LMG is acting in a careless, irresponsible way with these bad data points and conclusions, and either laziness or an unwillingness to commit that time, cheapness, whatever it is, focus on the bottom line, all of these things, these irresponsible actions, they can affect, in the worst cases, the life work of an individual, say a smaller company, or in the more common cases, it can just mislead consumers into spending money that they don't have to spend or on things they don't realize are maybe not the right fit for them because of these problems. Having deep and high level
Tech Jesus, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have much commentary to say outside of the fact that he's just spitting facts, right? Like, he's just basically saying that these people have a responsibility and that his words carry a lot of weight. And because your words carry a lot of weight and your videos have a lot of impressions and views and strength and force behind it, that you can't be sloppy with the implementation. Otherwise, there's going to be too much unnecessary collateral damage. And even worse, you can't do it on purpose. You can't be out here being clumsy and incomplete on purpose just for your bottom line and then say that you're doing things for the people. Because at the end of the day, this is just capitalism, trying to maximize profits and revenue so that Linus can take his $50,000 pee-pee poo-poo.
Corporate connections and companies and going easy on manufacturers while then briefly after taking their money for a corporate title sponsorship of a major convention, investing in laptop companies and covering their own products alongside competitors. These are actions that to us raise serious concerns about the objectives of the company. Is it in fact consumer first, or is it more looking at the bottom line? The fun Linus personality in front of all of it doesn't make it simply okay to do these things, to publish bad data so regularly and knowingly in some cases, like with the block, and not take the time to do it properly. No matter how funny and goofy the video may be, it simply isn't okay. The data matters, the consumer matters, the perspective of the consumer consumer also matters now, viewing this company as a sort of reforged, not just entertainment company, and the truth matters. We think there's an eagerness in the less experienced employees, coupled with a lack of disciplined and experienced management, to steer them in the right direction and check for mistakes. So some of this is fine if you are just an entertainer. But if you start marketing your business on accuracy and data and objectivity, like those of us who've occupied the space since the website days, then we should all be held to the same standards.
Okay.
We should all play by the same rules and audience scrutiny and criticisms. And likewise, we as reviewers have to hold ourselves accountable to the same standards, because again, it protects all of us from manufacturers being like, these guys don't do anything useful.
Yes.
So that's kind of it. Just my thoughts on this. And it's, I want to get back to testing stuff, but it was important to us. And I hope that people listened before they just jumped to the OMG drama lol comment. But that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Thank you, Tech Jesus. I appreciate that, Tech Jesus. There's my boy Mudahar. What's up, guys and gals? Me, Mudahar here. And do I got some spicy news for you today? Boy, oh boy, buckle up, because it's time for rodeo. That's right. So I feel like we need to find, what did Linus Tech Tips say? Where is the follow-up that Linus made? Has anybody got the link?